Hello everyone and welcome once again to the Old World Handsome Boy Activity Centre. Today we're going to be talking about the new edition, the shiny new edition of Lord of the Rings Warhammer. No, I can't do that. The shiny new edition of a Middle-earth strategy battle game. So I've noticed on YouTube there are tons of amazing, awesome content for people that are into the competitive scene and want to know how the new edition is going to affect the rules, their favourite armies, you know, what are going to be the most competitive choices, who's been nerfed, who's been buffed, etc, etc, etc. But what about the people like me that are all about the lore and the theme? I've not seen many videos on that, so I thought I would do my take on the new edition and how I'm going to apply it to all the kind of deep lore and all the different armies from the different ages that I want to represent in Middle-earth, and how I would do it. You know, I'm not going to really cover the competitive side of things. I'll maybe mention if something's good or not, because there's so many better channels that know about the game and how to play it properly. I've been a bit rusty this year because I've not been playing as much, sadly, but hopefully this year I'm going to try and get to a lot more events, because the first year I was on YouTube, I think I went to 13 different events and I had like a vlog for them all. I had like a vlog a month out, and then last year, sadly, I only managed, I think, 2 tournaments. I did win one, which was great, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. It didn't satisfy me, but hopefully I'll be able to start going to more events, which is great. At first, I was kind of terrified about all the kind of rumours and leaks showing the new army lists and getting rid of soup and kind of proxies and war gear options. I thought it was really going to kill the creative side and the lore side of the hobby. I don't think the issue with the last edition was the soup lists. I think the soup lists added a lot of creativity and some great ideas and combinations that you could do. I think the main issue with the last edition was really undercosted and overpowered profiles that for the whole 6 years of the edition were just completely ignored. But anyway, let's just move on, because that was the old edition. Let's talk about the lovely new edition. Shall we? I don't even know what I'm saying. I should have wrote a script or something. Maybe I will write a script now. You know, I was genuinely surprised by how many different armies there were in the books. I do wish and do think that the third book should have come out at the same time. The amount of confusion that is caused online is absolutely insane. It doesn't help get new players into the game when most people are asking, where's this profile that I really want to play? Or you need to wait for this next book that might appear in a couple of months, or it might not. It just feels a bit rubbish. But let's go on what we do have, and I will show you how I'm going to kind of represent some of the cool first age armies, or at least try to. Let's see if I get around to it. So the things that I think are a lot more thematic to Lord of the Rings about this edition is the magic has been nerfed. I do think when you read the books and the films, magic isn't a massive part of Lord of the Rings. Maybe in the earlier ages, like before the first age when the gods were fucking throwing spells and all that shit about. But from kind of the end of the first age onwards, magic kind of slowly disappearing from the world. And I always felt that the last edition, the magic was it was so powerful. It could completely I just think the magic really decided games a lot of the time. Whereas if you look at the films, it's more of just like a buff. You know, I don't think magic was that impactful in many of the battles in Lord of the Rings. I always think Lord of the Rings is basically just historicals with a little bit of extra flavours and monsters.
That's a 10.
Speaking of monsters, great segue here. Monsters have also been greatly improved. Well, apart from the cave troll, that's still shite. But a lot more monsters are a lot more powerful or more cost efficient, which you're more likely to see them in games. I always love the Mordor trolls in the films, but I don't think I've seen a single, apart from the Beefy Chiefy, I don't think I've seen a Mordor troll last edition in a single game. I know somebody might be able to point to one of my old vlogs, but I can't think of any. I've seen a lot of cave trolls last edition, but I don't think they're as good. I also feel there's a lot more emphasis on infantry now, which is great, now that the kind of horses have been a bit more for heroes have been costed. It's not just an auto take. Oh, my hero gets a horse, I'm going to give him a horse because it makes him better. Now you think about it, and you actually see a lot more heroes on foot, which historically speaking, and in the books and the films, most of the heroes that weren't like knights would actually fight in amongst the infantry, which I am super excited for, I have to say. Also, without the soup list gone, it does force people to take very specific themey lists, which I do think is going to help the game. Although looking at the stats for the first GBHL 100, it looks like it's just going to be eagles versus trolls. But we'll soon see. I think the meta is not going to be decided for maybe it'll be 4 or 5 months. We'll know what the meta is, and then I said I wasn't going to talk competitively, and here I am. Apologies. Let's just move on with the theme, shall we? So, unlike the other more competitive channels on YouTube that went through the armies and said, oh, this is going to be really strong, this is going to be like really weak, you know, I really like to look at this list. What I'm going to do is go through them in a sense of the lore and what I think they could represent in different ages. So the first one I am obviously going to start with is my House of Hador army that I absolutely love. It's yet to see a game outside of my house, but yeah, it is historical miniatures, so I do understand that most people would not want to play that. But my House of Hador army, I'm super excited about because I'd say there's loads of different options for that now, whereas before I had to really think about who I was going to ally with, who and all that, whereas now I think there are some fantastic legions. I think there's 3 legions I think could be good. Maybe even 4 for the House of Hador. So the House of Hador was the big battle I'm thinking of is a battle of unnumbered tiers with Hurin and... Was that the battle of unnumbered tiers? Yes, it was. With Hurin and Huar defending the pass of Sirion, so Turgon could escape back to Gondolin. So the first one I've got is Men of the West here. I think this would be fantastic because you've got Aragorn as Hurin, absolute monster. You've got Eomer, who is now fantastic. You could have him on foot. There's even Legolas, who could replace like some of the elves that were trying to will represent some of the elves that were trying to escape back to Gondolin. Gimli could be one of the dwarfs from the Azragal's host that got cut up in the retreat. You know, there's definitely lots of things you can do here. There's the whole Dominant 2, which is great. It's all about like kind of defending to the death, like that last stand from Hurin. And you get the once per game. Aragorn can use a special rule where all friendly models get +1 fight and +1 wound rolls, +1 fight and reroll ones. So it's like, you know, the very last stand of Hurin and Huar, and they're fighting to the death, and you can throw that out. Would feel fucking class. And you know, while Hurin is alive, you pass courage tests. And there's also, you could even ally in. Can you ally in Gwahir, or is it just a Great Eagle? You can ally in Gwahir as maybe Throndraur. You do some kind of cool stuff with Hurin and Huar being lifted by Throndraur and his pals over to Gondolin and all that stuff. Fantastic. I like the sound of that. The second one I thought of for them would be the Reclamation of Osgiliath. So you've got Boz as Hurin, and Faramir, who is now also very good. I'm not talking competitively. Faramir is very good, so you could have, let's just say, Hurin and Faramir are Hurin and Huar, respectively. And you could have Boromir, Captain of the White Tower. He gets his once per game, again, very last stand, +1 to fight, trying to hold everyone off, +1 to wound when making strikes. That is cool, that is awesome. Obviously, while the 2 brothers are beside each other, they can expend each other's might. I think that is fucking awesome. That'd be really good for Hurin and Huar. And then you've got like loads of different kind of troops. So you can have like rangers as your less armoured, and your Minas Tirith guys as the armoured ones. Fantastic. I think that would be maybe not as good as Men of the West, but still a cool idea. And then my third idea would be the Defenders of Helm's Deep, and Hurin and Huar would be Aragorn and Theoden. And the reason I think this is quite thematic is because you could also throw in, I think you get Royal Guard in this list as well. You do get Royal Guard. So you get Royal Guard for your armoured troops, you get the Warriors of Rohan for your crappy troops, and then you could have the Elves of Gondolin as they run as the Galadrim, which is fucking cool. Haldir could be like a captain, or can you take a Galadrim captain? You can take a normal Galadrim captain as well. How cool is that? Definitely think that would be really cool to represent the House of Hador as an alliance with the Gondolin as they're kind of running away. Or maybe that could be when they are fighting at the very start of the battle, before everything goes tits up. Next up, one that I am very excited about, that I am definitely going to be running, is we now have an absolute girl boss profile. So we've got Hera, the Bride of Death, and the Defenders of the Hornburg list. And I don't know why they didn't just make the film about Haleth from the first Age, who was an absolute boss. I've got a full video on the House of Haleth, I'll link it at the end of this one. And we finally have a profile that we can use to represent Haleth. She was like absolutely awesome when all her family died, fighting, they're basically fighting off the hordes of Morgoth's orcs. They managed, they all died, and she took command and she led them in a multi-day siege against the orcs, and finally Curufin and Celeborn came to her rescue, Fëanor's sons, with a load of elves, and saved the day. But she was such a badass that when the elves offered her like a fiefdom, she told them to get stuffed and went and made her own way through Beleriand and settled in the Forest of Brethil. There's also a list for them as well, which I will find somewhere. I think it'll be just great, full stop. You know, the Dominant 2, Fight 4 Horde, or it's not Fight 4, is it? Fight 3? I think you can get Fight 4 somehow. I can't remember. I said, I'm not doing competitive. Shut up, John. Just talk about the list. So, Haleth obviously is Hera, absolutely awesome, and then loads of troops just defending. And it's a Defense of the Hornburg list, so it's very accurate to that fucking battle in the first Age, which was awesome. I've always wanted to do that, and we've finally got a profile and an army list. Perfect, absolutely perfect for it. They should have made the film about Haleth. Why didn't they make the film about Haleth? Probably something to do with the rights, I don't know. But she was an actual fucking badass. Next up, Minas Tirith can obviously be used to represent many of the Kingdoms of Men in the first Age. Yeah, there's not really much to say about that. It's so interchangeable. You could just pick whatever you wanted. Two brothers, or just captains, different forge-rolled heroes. You know, there's lots you could do with that one, especially Eralas with the Citadel Guard with the bows and the +1 to it. Shut up, John. I'm talking competitive again. Let's move on. So, another Turin list. So I thought Turin and the Band of Outlaws, you could use the Garrison of Ithilien. Faramir, Captain of Gondor, isn't exactly as powerful as I would imagine Turin to be, but I think Turin's still a bit young. You could do it at the very early ages of Turin, when he was quite young, and he was leading the Band of Outlaws throughout the raiding Morgoth's armies, and, you know, sacking all his caravan trains and stealing all his loot and all that kind of thing. That was, and you could even use Frodo and Sam as meme, like some of the petty dwarfs, Smeagol, if you really wanted to. So yeah, that was another idea I had for the Garrison of Ithilien. And I also had another idea for the Turin and the Outlaws. There is obviously Aragon and the Rangers, or Arathorn and the Rangers, but I think I said that they're a bit crap this edition. Oh yeah, so I thought for Turin and the Outlaws, you could use a hero-heavy Defenders of the Pelennor, and you could obviously have Aragon as Turin, or even Eomer as Turin, and then you have Legolas as Beleg Strongbow. Gimli could run as one of the dwarves if you really want. You could meme, but Gimli might be a bit powerful for meme the petty dwarf. And then you get loads of different troop types you could use as a different kind of the ragtag stragglers that are following them about. And I think they have some cool rules as well. You get a free heroic combat. That's pretty cool. So if you did like a kind of Turin and Theoden and Eomer is like his. I can't try and remember Turin's pals, but I can't. But yeah, that was another idea for that list. You know, there's also Saruman and Gandalf. Saruman has been nerfed a bit, but the army is still really strong. You could use the Uruk-hai as like a eastern phalanx with a blue wizard, or you could use Gandalf and the Defenders of Defenders of the Wall, and some kind of blue wizardy stuff from the east as well. Lots of blue wizard things that you can. I've always wanted to do, but also never got around to it. It is something I can't think. Is there any lists with 2 wizards? You could have 2 blue wizards. White Council?
Yeah, from the local council, and not an acceptable state to lead them in, is it?
No, I'm so sorry.
Something like that? I don't know. Can't think of any 2 Blizzard list with troops, sadly. Obviously, Numenor can be Numenor from any part of the Second Age. The only thing I don't like about Numenor is they can't take a banner, which is just fucking mental. Like, especially when they've made banner points in all the different scenarios. That's just, I really don't like that. That's one of the changes that I hate the most. So then we've got Lindon, Rivendell, Last Alliance. You know, Last Alliance can be used for the War of the Elves and Sauron. Oh, look, actually, that's an idea. So you got Rivendell here. You could have Elrond as any of the kind of houses of Gondolin. With Arwen could be Idril, and then you could have Bilbo as Eärendil as a baby. Although I don't think he was too young to fight, but just a bit of fun if you wanted to do that. Lindon also looks really fun, definitely easily interchangeable with stuff in the First Age. Although the G unit has one of the biggest killers is the Galadriel was being absolutely kicked to the teeth. Like, he wasn't even good the last edition because of magic, and then they've just absolutely nerfed him into the ground. I'm so gutted about that. I'm hoping for some big G unit cheese in the next book that can be used to represent stuff from the First Age. Because right now he was so good for representing heroes in the First Age, but he's a bit pants at the moment. Took rid of Strike as well, so you know, Elrond can theoretically outfight him. Yeah. Anyway, they're all really interchangeable. The same with Lothlorien. Lothlorien, that could be also thought the citizens of Gondolin. When Gondolin's getting sacked, you could have these two, and then like loads of different pajama elves like painted up like citizens of Gondolin trying to escape. But then you could also do armoured ones as well if you wanted, like Gondolin stuff. What other elven cities got sacked? Nargothrond. Well, they all did. So there could be any kind of elven siege in the First Age, or even Second Age. You could do Austin Ethel. Fangorn. That's the one thing I'm really sad about this age. You can't ally the Ents. That's sadly gone. I really wanted to do Green Elves and the Ents fighting the Dwarves of Nogrod in the First Age, but you can't do that anymore, I don't think, sadly. Eagles is eagles, no matter what age they're in. Realms of Men, this is good. I really hope there's a Realms of Dwarves, a Realms of Orcs, a Realms of Elves. You know, I hope they do them all, because this is cool. This is really cool. I'm really excited for this. You can just basically design your own king and have different captains. This is. I think I like this. I really like this. I really hope there's more like this, because this is cool. It can represent anything you want from the First Age, you know. Do whatever you want. You could represent, like, yeah, anything. If that's fucking cool. Evil's a bit harder, because there's nothing as menacing as Morgoth, really. So there's no Morgoth profile. I thought Azog and Bolg could represent Balldog, the Maiar. There was Maiar that became orcs. Thank you to Connor Kerr for that shout out. I thought that's a great idea. You could have like the orc Maiar leading massive phalanxes of Gundabad orcs as like First Age orcs. Gothmog's been shat on a bit. He's a bit pants now, which is a shame. Let me get to the army lists, because there was a couple I liked. The Balrog's awesome. Now, sadly, he can't lead orcs. He can only lead goblins. You can't ally him into other stuff now. So it's going to have to be. You could just use orc models for the First Age Balrog leading orcs, and just use the Moria goblin profile. You know, and then you can get shitty trolls with them as well. Barad-dûr, obviously, Sauron, any part of the Second Age really. First Age, I thought you could do, what's the one with Angmar, the Witch Kings? Oh, here we are, Usurpers of Edoras. I thought this could actually be used to represent the Axemen of Brethil, because the Wild Men can take two-handed weapons. So you can have the Axemen of Brethil, and then you can also have, and then you've got Thorn and the Traitor Rohan guys, which can be used as the normal troops from Brethil. I thought that's a pretty cool idea. They also have some really fun rules that you could use. Yeah, Axemen of Brethil, Usurpers of Edoras. Harad kind of could represent the Easterlings, except without the mimics. Corsairs, bit pants, can be Corsairs from any time. There's not as much evil, but I can't. Where's the fucking the Witch King one? Like all these different orc lists can represent first age orcs, but where's the Witch King one? Anyway, I was thinking the Witch King Legion. What's it called? Host of the Witch King from Angmar. You could have like Witch King being Sauron, and you could have all the different werewolves and stuff like that from Minas Tirith. It is actually Minas Tirith in the first age, where he's like taking over it and he's holding the pass of Syrian. You could have him in there with all the werewolves and all the other big creepy crawlies. I think that'd be good. So then we've got the kind of good armies of the Hobbit. There's the two dwarf armies, can represent any kind of dwarfs you want. You know, Azragal is probably more likely to be, could be a Thrain. That'd be cool with all his different dwarfs behind him. Although I think the Thrain list isn't as good as the Arhill's one. There's the Battle of Five Armies, which could be represent Battle of Unnumbered Tiers. There's the Halls of Thranduil, which would be really good for first age dwarfs because he's first age elves because he's got that kill bubble. Which I always thought Thranduil's Halls was very first agey because it's like a big blob of elf death just charging up the board. You know, I think even though they're wood elves, I felt they were more like their rules fit like matched the Noldor perfectly. Especially now, Toriel's amazing as well. So like Thranduil and Toriel could be, you know, Fëanor or fucking anyone you can think of in the first stage. I think it would fit really well. So yeah, that's the end of this part of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, in the comments, what are your ideas? Do you have any ideas for the first stage stuff coming up in the new edition? I don't know which one I want to do first. I think Haleth. I've got to do the House of Haleth. I think Hera profile is absolutely perfect for that. I really want to run that list. It looks like a lot of fun. Oh, wee editor's note. I completely forgot to talk about the Arnor and Glorfindel. So much you can do with that. You can do Turin and Orodreth from the Battle of Tumalad, where Glaurung comes and eats them all. Yeah, there's no dragons actually. Nothing I could use for Glaurung. Hopefully that comes in the Armies of Middle-earth book.
Say the line, Bart!
Wait for the Middle-earth Armies book.
Yeah!
So yeah, like there's loads of options for first stage. You could have Beren and Thingol. Loads of things. But you know, back to the current time. Back to the current time. Quickly, back before the flux capacitors. Ah! So yeah, thank you for watching this video. It's complete mince, probably just me talking absolute bollocks for 20 minutes. But I hope the lore lovers enjoyed it. There'll be something for the competitive players in about a month. I am off to a big 100 tournament in Glasgow. We have our own GBHL 100 tournament in Glasgow now. There's loads of prizes, fantastic food trucks. It's in the place. Remember the Willy Wonka? The Willy Wonka experience? That's where it's being held. So I might even dress up as Willy Wonka. Or I'm probably more like an Oompa Loompa, or that big fat kid that ate the blueberry thing and exploded. There's plenty of hotels nearby, great public transport. I'm excited to see what a 900 point event, what kind of armies we're going to see there. I currently have no idea what I'm going to take. I quite like the look of the Realms of Men. Doing something funny with that. But I'm not sure. But anyway, that's what we've got for you competitive lads. But anyway, there's plenty of tickets left, so maybe I'll see you there. I'll be doing a vlog for it. I'm also down to London to see Mr. Battle Camper. And then we're going to do like a road trip for part 3 of the Highland adventure. So if you've not seen part 1 and 2, go check them out. But there's a big issue with that. As the Highland Adventure is all about me painting Clansmen of Lamadon and making a massive Lamadon army. Yeah, that's in the fucking bin. Games Workshop has killed that. And because I've now said that, I can now use a very clickbait title for this video. I hope you didn't fall for it. Or well, I hope you did. So Alex and I are maybe just going to paint up the new starter set. We're not sure. I really wanted to do Lamedon, but yeah, they're gone, sadly. Say the line, Bart. Anyway, what else have I got coming up for this year? We've got a diorama coming up in end of February. Loads of absolute fucking nonsense. I'm assuming there's so much on that pile of shame over there that I've got to paint, and hopefully get me some nice commissions for interesting things. I've got some terrain coming up. Yeah, just a wee update for you all on the channel. Can't believe I've been doing this for 3 fucking years. It's been 3 years of absolute pish videos, but some of yous are still here, and I love yous. Love yous all, and of course the Patreons that help me fund this absolute fucking tragedy of a YouTube channel. You're the best. Thank you so much for the continued support. I am going to use the money to buy, hopefully save up for the new starter set, or maybe a brand new army. I wonder if you could do clansmen using the Realms of Men somehow. I don't think they get two-handed weapons. Food for thought, food for thought. I'm waffling on. I'm sure you are sick of fucking hearing me speak. So I'm off to make a really clickbait title. It'll probably be Games Workshop shooting a picture of my army, and maybe I'll add in a pair of tits or something for a bit of catch your eye, I suppose. Yeah. See you in the next one.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to give my bell a good old ring.
Please tell me I would hit record. Oh, thank God I did. Having a bit of a crisis of my mental fortitude here. I've been advised that my clickbait is not strong enough. You need to get the clicks in, and well, I came up with this, but it's a bit, I don't know if I can mentally do it. Games Workshop killed my army. Oh, I don't know if I've got the mental fortitude to do this. But, you know, don't hate the player, hate the game. Jesus. You know, I just think the Magic really decided games a lot of the time. It still does. Not talking to you.